Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. I am your host, Caryn Fitzgerald, and today I am talking with Chris McKee. And Chris is a certified nutrition consultant, a diet counselor, and a nutrition educator. She's passionate about educating you on why you want to choose a healthy lifestyle of eating. After her husband was diagnosed with cancer at the early age of 42, Chris committed herself to teach others how to prevent and reverse disease. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Caryn. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm really excited because we're at the beginning of a new year, and we're going to talk about something that is pretty much on everybody's resolution list. Let's talk about weight.
Oh, yeah.
and not the weight like as in a line, but the weight as in our little extra padding type stuff.
Yeah.
80% of New Year's resolutions involve something with weight loss.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Share some of your knowledge with us. Why can't we all lose weight?
I wish it was so simple. The one thing that I do know is that out of those 80% of the people who are going to commit, this is the year I'm going to do this, I'm going to get it off, by March, they're gone. You talk to any fitness owner who owns a fitness business, and they'll tell you it's, massive amount of people coming in January, and by March, 75% of them are gone. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, I think, because of our lifestyles. I think it's a challenge because there's a lot of confusion out there about what to eat. You're hearing about so many different diets, different types of diets. I talk to anyone who's done weight loss, and they've done 3, 4, 5, multiple different types of diets, and only to have the weight come back. So they get very discouraged. I think that we have a society that is so focused on the physical vanity side that oftentimes we do it for the wrong reasons, and that won't keep us in the game. We have to do it for the right reasons, and that's really for health. So I just think there's a lot of factors involved. There's some very specific things that we might go into today that might be reasons why we can't lose weight, but I think overall it's really just those general things that we start off all enthusiastic at the beginning of the year. This is the year, and then life gets in the way, and the next thing you know, you're back to your habits.
Well, do you think our habits come from the fact that on every corner there's 3 or 4 or 5 fast food restaurants that are not exactly serving healthy meals?
I think that's the part of it. It's the ease of it. I know I had an appointment yesterday with a lady who was here for this exact reason. I'm going to get on this, and I'm going to really get it done this year. And a very busy single mom. And she has her little diet diary that she brought me, and it is quick foods out of the freezer. It's quick things at lunch. It's at night when she gets home, she's tired. She's got 2 kids. She's had a full day. It's whatever's quick. So I think that is part of it, Caryn, because that's easy, right? It's easy. You've got a kid that's got to go to soccer or something. You're going to go through a drive-through and give them all something to eat, and you're done. So I think that's part of it, yes.
Well, let's talk about our society as a whole in terms of, well, I'll say it, the O word, obesity.
Uh-huh.
We have gotten much bigger as a society.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about society as a whole. What are some ways that we can reshape our society in terms of healthier eating, which, of course, if you're eating healthier, the weight's going to come off, the fat's going to drop off. So what are some ways that people can help their bodies to drop some of that fat?
Wow. Well, can I go through about 6 things that I think have a lot to do with why we don't?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I think this is really important. It's so, I think, confusing. I really do. I think our bodies are amazing machines. They're very complex, and each one of us is different, right? What puts weight on you and what puts weight on me could be very different.
Right.
So, first of all, I think one size does not fit all, and we have to really look at who we are genetically and also who we are as far as our activities and lifestyle. So, number one, top of the list, there has to be some movement. There has to be exercise of some kind. And I was chatting with this lady that I did an appointment with yesterday, and she's up at 5:45. She's out the door at 7:30. She doesn't get home till 5:30, and then it's kids and stuff, going on. And we were talking about where in her day is she going to put that? And it doesn't have to be every day, but we we were shooting for 3 times a week. So there has to be a strategy for that. It has to fit in there somewhere. Number one, because your body is meant to move. We're not meant to be sedentary, and we live very sedentary lives. A lot of people commute, and in her situation, she's in an office all day long, so she's sitting. So we have to move our bodies, number one. But the second thing, foods, the food supply basically is nutritionally depleted. It just is no longer, I heard a doctor that's working with me in the nutrition arena say something the other day that I thought was really funny. He said, the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. He goes, well, it takes 10 apples now to keep a doctor away.
That's a lot of apples.
That's a lot of apples. But, what the nutritional value of an apple 50 years ago is not the nutritional value of an apple today, because of the fact that, very, very much of the food has been changed, and a lot of it's heavily sprayed and grown on depleted soils and all those things that people are aware of, but they're not aware of how that impacts their body. So we have, the fast foods and the packaged foods and the frozen foods and the convenience foods are very nutritionally depleted. So people talk about, yes, I know what I should eat, which is the fruits and the vegetables and the good fats and those types of things. But again, it goes back to the convenience food. So I think number two, we're just consuming a lot of nutritionally deficient foods. And you mentioned the obesity epidemic. That really started, the fun thing is, not the fun thing, but I've actually been part of watching this happen, because my foray into health and fitness started in the 1980s when there was not this obesity epidemic. We were not the fat nation that we are now. But in the 1980s, something changed. And what changed was we, got this somehow big media push that fats were bad and we had to eat low-fat food. And when we brought that in, the carbohydrates went up. So eggs were bad, so no more eggs for breakfast, right? It was cereal now. And carbohydrates went through the roof, and sugars went through the roof, and bad fats and partially hydrogenated fats all just permeated our society. And I've watched this whole, experiment change the way that our bodies are, our health is in this nation. So does that make sense, Caryn, what I talk about?
It does. And I definitely want us to talk a little bit more about the good fats and the carbohydrates. And we're going to take a super short break.
Okay.
So everybody stay put or go grab yourself a nice glass of water. And we'll be right back with more Coffee and Coaching with Caryn.
Stay tuned. Coffee and Coaching with Caryn will be back after these messages.
Need a little more happiness in your life? Here you go. The Happiness Recipe Podcast to the rescue. Listen each week as June Klein and Sandy Weaver Carmen share wit, wisdom, and wonderful food with their guests. Guaranteed to add happiness to your life. happinessrecipe.net.
Did you know that an estimated 50,000 people a year die from flu-related complications? The only way to prevent the flu is to get a flu shot. Everyone over 6 months of age should be vaccinated against the flu. Visit www.shotsforholly.org for information and links about the various forms of the flu shot. Get a shot and help us beat the beast known as the flu, one shot at a time.
Are you looking for quality entertainment and activities for the entire family? Then come on down to the Plaza Theater Company and Plaza Academy Dance Studio, located in Cleburne, Texas. The Plaza Theater Company is an award-winning community theater that presents 10 productions a year, performing every single weekend. If you have a child that enjoys acting, dancing, or singing, then you can enroll them in the Plaza Academy Dance Studio. For more information, visit plaza-theater.com or call 817-202-0600.
Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
We are back with Coffee and Coaching with Caryn, and I am your host, Caryn Fitzgerald. And today my guest is Chris McKee, and Chris is a certified nutrition consultant, a diet counselor, and a nutrition educator. And we're talking about why you want to choose a lifestyle of eating healthy. So Chris, we were talking about the top reasons why people can't lose weight. Mm-hmm. And before the break, we were talking about how our society went from eating fats to everything low fat, carbohydrates went up, all the hydrogenated stuff, all the bad stuff basically multiplied, and the good stuff fell by the wayside.
Right.
So let's pick up where we were. Let's talk a little bit more about that and some of the reasons people are struggling with losing weight.
Absolutely. As you and I were just mentioning, the bad fats are a huge part of this because the fast foods came in a big way in the 70s and 80s. Really, there were very few of them in the 70s and the 80s, but it was an explosion in the 80s and 90s of fast food restaurants. And those bad fats are extremely inflammatory in the body. They create a lot of inflammation. So fats also are calorically, there's 9 calories for every gram of fat versus 4 calories for every carbohydrate or protein. So they're double, or more than double the fat calorie content in fat. So you take the double whammy of the bad fat and then the caloric part of that, and you've got a recipe for disaster. And then almost all of your bad fats are combined with carbohydrates, right?
Exactly.
Fries, or you're going to do French fries and a hamburger with a bun, white bun, things like that. You're just combining the two together, which even makes it a double whammy. So we have a huge problem in that area. We are starting to see some of the fast food restaurants bringing in some healthier choices, which is good. So even McDonald's, have salads, and Burger King and things like that. We're starting to see that now move into these fast foods because I think the awareness and the demand is there. Not that they're super healthy, but they're a better choice and they're a step in the right direction. So if that is something where someone says, I've just got to go through a drive-through, there are some choices now. And I think that's great that they're there and we get to have some options. But, our food supply is pretty nutritionally deficient. So I really do encourage people to eat as clean as possible with as many fruits and vegetables as possible, and to move into eating foods that are more personally cooked and fixed yourself versus the packaged frozen fast food foods.
Well, let me ask you a question. We were talking about drive-thrus a minute ago. There's one area that we haven't really touched on, and that's the liquid area. So we went from drinking, when I was a kid, my parents, it was water or milk or apple juice. And I wasn't a big milk drinker, so it was water or apple juice. It was pretty much what we drank when we were kids. Now it's that S word, soda. So let's just touch a little bit on soda, diet soda, regular soda, no soda. What are some of your thoughts? What kind of guidance do you share with your clients on the soda addiction?
It is an addiction.
It is. It absolutely is. I agree with you 100%. I say that, in jest, but it's seriously an addiction. Stop drinking soda for a couple of days if you're a soda drinker, and the headaches, the nausea, it's going through a withdrawal.
It is. It truly is. And my poor lady that I met with yesterday, first thing in the morning, she doesn't have coffee. She has a Coke, a real live one too, not a diet one. So,
wow.
Yeah. So not only is she slamming her body with, high fructose corn syrup in the morning, spiking the blood sugar, but she's also, that's her caffeine fix. So to answer your question, I have had people that, and I ask them, I just say, how fast or how slow do you want to go? Because it's your body and it's your lifestyle. I've had people say I'm cold turkeying it, I'm going to just do it. And yes, they go through the withdrawals. And then I'll have people will say, well, I'm going to drop, one a week until I'm down to none. And, Caryn, I have an 80-20 rule.
Okay.
Would you like to know what my 80-20 rule is?
I would like to know what your 80-20 rule is.
Okay. 80% of the time, eat really, really, really good, and 20% of the time, enjoy life. And if you look at that over a week, if we eat 3 meals a day, and there's 7 days in the week, that's 21 meals a week. That's a lot of meals.
That's a lot of meals.
A lot of meals. And if you're saying 20%, which is basically 4 meals a week that aren't going to be perfect, or maybe you even splurge, like the Friday night, you go out and have the margarita and the chips and salsa and your cheesy, gooey enchiladas.
Hey, have you been watching me on Friday nights?
Yeah, I mean, that one meal is not the thing that's putting weight on. It's the everyday stuff. So if someone's having sodas every day, yes, it's a tremendous amount of empty calories, and that high fructose corn syrup really messes up cell metabolism. I mean, it really, really sets you up for failure. So, I'm not going to say don't ever have a soda again, or even a soda, once a week, or your splurge days or whatever. But it's the daily thing, and it is a huge thing with kids. I mean, I really am concerned about the children and the obesity rate with the children. So, sodas there's just nothing good about them. Even diet soda, what they're starting to show, they've done studies with people who do diet sodas, that they actually have a higher obesity rate than those that are doing the regular soda, because their brain is now used to that super sweetness of the artificial sweeteners. And it craves that sweetness in everything. So it sets you up for even a worse sugar cravings than you would had you not done diet soda. But to answer your question, yes, I encourage people to definitely back off the sodas. It's empty calories. It's very damaging for the body, and it does set you up for sugar cravings and sugar blood spiking and dropping. But again, let's enjoy life, because if we say we can never have a soda again, then people just say, they just shut down.
So it sounds like it's a process of adding in more good stuff, and that eventually pushes out the desires and the cravings for the bad stuff and helps the body balance.
Absolutely. And that's such a truth. I have, how you have kind of your all-stars in business, or if someone's a financial planner and they watch some of their clients just really get it, or for me, it's some of my clients just really get it. And I have someone who started with me in the fall, which is a hard time because you're heading into the holidays, but she was very committed to her nutritional program, getting some weight off and getting on track. And she was a soda drinker, a 6-pack, one a day, so a 6-pack a week. And she said, I'm going cold turkey. And she did. And she had some other issues going on with a candida overgrowth and so forth, which means you have to take all sugar out of the diet, no carbohydrates, no fruit. It's basically protein and vegetables. And she felt so good at the end of 2 weeks. It was hard for the first 2 weeks, but at the end of 2 weeks, she said, you know what? I feel so good. There's no way on God's green earth I'm going back to eating the way I was eating. And even now, here she is in January, and she made it through the holidays. She did splurge a little, but not much. And she said, I didn't even want to. I feel so good. I didn't want to feel crummy again. So you're right, Caryn. I think once you get through that first initial kind of withdrawal of whatever it is, maybe you're a huge coffee drinker, or maybe you're a daily Starbucks drinker. But once you really start moving into the healthier choices, which is a lot of pure water, as we know, sparkling water is really nice. You can put some fruit essence in there or something like that, and just really start to, drop one thing, but add in some healthy things. Usually your body just says, you know what, thank you so much. I feel so good. I want to stay doing this.
That makes so much sense. And for me, I've been there. I mean, I enjoyed chocolate for years, and I gave it up, and I don't even remember why I gave it up, but I remember replacing it with, of all things, Granny Smith apples.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I wanted a piece of chocolate, I would chop off a chunk of a Granny Smith apple, and it got to the point where I was eating about 2 a day, and it leveled out for after a while. But I just realized that the taste of chocolate is not appealing to me anymore.
Yeah.
But give me a Granny Smith apple anytime.
Yeah. Isn't
So
that interesting? Yeah.
I love it. We're going to take another super short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about cleansing out that body, detoxing. So stay there. We'll be right back with more Coffee and Coaching with Caryn in just a moment.
Stay tuned. Coffee and Coaching with Caryn will be back after these messages.
Hey Lily, do you have lines, wrinkles, or low energy?
Yeah, I do. Well, change it all now. Look and feel younger from the comfort of your own home today. How?
Visit 10yearsyounger.now.com for your free personal consultation.
Thanks, guys. You're welcome.
Looking to monetize your passions? Ready to get paid for doing what you love? Contact Caryn at coffeeandcoachingradio@gmail.com and get creative strategies for developing income while doing what you love.
Dreaming of turning your book into an audiobook? Make it happen. More and more people are discovering the joy of audiobooks. They should be discovering you. Our professional personal service gives you just the audio product you've dreamed of. Check us out, voiceworkondemand.com.
Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
We are back with Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. I'm your host, Caryn Fitzgerald, and my guest today is Chris McKee. And Chris is a certified nutrition consultant, diet counselor, and nutrition educator. And she's passionate about educating you on why you want to choose a lifestyle of eating healthy. So Chris, before the break, you were sharing one of your clients' stories and how she cut out all the sugar and the carbs, and after a couple of weeks felt much better.
Right.
Let's talk detox, because the reality is the crummy food that we eat becomes an addiction. And a lot of times it's like eating the potato chip. You know, you take one or two and before you notice you've eaten the whole bag, but you don't remember it.
Yeah.
So it's a blackout on potato chips. So let's talk about detoxing. First of all, what is detoxing the body?
Oh, wow. That's a big topic. We could do an hour on that.
Reader's Digest version.
Really, condensed Reader's Digest version. Well, there are lots of systems, body systems, obviously. There's a circulatory system, and then you've got your kidneys involved in there, and you've got your liver, and you've got your bowels, so there's a lot involved. But for simplicity's sake, let's talk about detoxing for weight loss and how that can be helpful. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the major organs that deals with everything that comes in is your liver. Your liver is your garbage filter. And so when we are being exposed to toxins all day long, I mean, anything in your foods that you're buying or packaged or canned or fast food are going to have some types of chemicals in them. If you're drinking water out of a water bottle, you got the BPA's in there. If you're breathing air, you've got toxins. So they're coming in all the time. And toxins have an affinity for fat. In other words, they store in fat. And if you're taking it in, your liver is going to look at it and it's going to decide whether it has the ability to be able to turn that toxin into a water-soluble molecule and get it out of the body. That's its role. It identifies it. It says it's bad guy. It wants to turn into water soluble, and you want to take it out through the bowel or through the kidney. So your body's constantly doing this all day long. Well, when we're putting on weight, we're storing more and more toxins in the body. And so when we lose weight, we dump a lot more toxins. And if the liver's not supported in this, it'll just literally shut down weight loss. The body's wisdom is so amazing, but if it can't handle the toxins coming out of the body from the weight loss, then it'll just say, I'm sorry, we're done. We're not losing any more weight. And that oftentimes is something that we're not addressing at all with weight loss. I love to use a visual of losing 10 pounds because oftentimes 10 pounds, we think, okay, 10 pounds, for some people, if they need to lose 50 or 60, they're going, oh, 10 pounds is like nothing. Well, it is a lot to lose. And I want you to think about a pound of butter, what a pound of butter looks like, shape-wise, size-wise. And now I want you to think about stacking 10 of those things on a table, like in a pyramid. That's a lot.
That's a lot of butter. I'm also thinking, my child was only 7 pounds or so, and that was a lot to tote her around. So 10 pounds is a lot, even though it doesn't sound like a lot. That's still a lot of weight for the body to carry.
It is. It's a lot of volume. And so think about that 10 pounds of butter that as it's being pushed into the bloodstream, as you're breaking that down, pushing the bloodstream, the liver is the one that has to take that fat and metabolize it and get it into a water-soluble substance and out of the body. So that's a lot of work for the liver. So what can we do to support the liver? Well, one of my most favorite things that's really simple that I'll suggest for people is when you first get up in the morning is juice a lemon. And this time of year, you got a lot of lemons. Juice a lemon, mix it in a cup of warm water, and you can put a little honey or agave nectar in there to sweeten it a little bit, and drink that first thing in the morning before anything. And that is what we call a degreaser. It literally goes down and helps to clear the bile ducts in the gallbladder, and it helps clear out the liver. It's a real liver support, and it's actually alkalinizing. Most people don't realize that citrus can alkalinize the body. So we want to alkalinize the body for detoxing. And so that's one simple thing that you can do first thing in the morning. And a lot of times people just say they feel so good, they just keep doing it. They love the way it feels. So first thing in the morning, that's a great thing to do. The other thing that really supports liver is your cruciferous family, which in the winter is all of your broccoli, your cauliflower, your kale, your cabbage. That whole family called cruciferous is very supportive for the liver. And so getting a lot of that in the diet, those greens in the diet is powerful. Also, there are supplements you can take like milk thistle. Milk thistle is a very common one. There are teas. You can look for teas that are liver support teas that you can drink throughout the day for your liver. And so really focusing on supporting that liver is a huge thing. Even if you're thinking about weight loss, I would always suggest that maybe you spend a week or so just focusing on supporting your liver before you decide to go on an actual weight loss program. But all of your greens are going to be very alkalinizing. You can go to my website, which we'll give at the end, and I have an acid alkaline chart that you can download. And if you focus on the alkaline side, which you're going to notice is all fruits and vegetables, it's going to be very supportive and very helpful for the body to help detox the body and clear the bloodstream and the kidneys and support the liver. So those are all good things to do before you even make a decision that I'm going to get really serious about losing weight, so your body can handle the weight loss.
Well, and it sounds like once someone starts doing those things, that the body is going to release some fat anyway as a result of this.
Sure. Yep.
Ah, okay. So we're coming up to the end here. So just a quick thing. I know you talked about the fruits and vegetables. For someone like me, I love the sweetness of fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that all fruits are not created equal. What are some of the better fruits to eat while focused on supporting the body?
Well, your berry families are the lowest glycemic, which is called, glycemic index is the rate at which food turns to sugar in the body. So obviously on a glycemic index, 100 is pure sugar. And if you look at fruits, they're down on the glycemic index around 30 or so. So on the berries. So those are the best choices. So your strawberries, your blueberries, your blackberries, your raspberries, those are all going to be lower sugar than, let's say, a banana. A banana is a very high sugar fruit. So I usually don't recommend bananas for people who are trying to lose weight because they do turn to sugar fairly quickly. Some of the other fruits that on the summer that are easier are the melons. I know this time of year is challenging because it is winter and we don't have a lot of choices. Citrus fruits are pretty high in sugar. So right now we're getting into the orange season, and that's pretty high in sugar. right now, what I'm doing, because there's not a lot of choices out there, is I'm buying a frozen antioxidant blend that's organic, and it has strawberries and blueberries and cherries and pomegranates in it. And I use that in a smoothie, or I might thaw it out and put it on some oatmeal or something like that. But really, the berries are the best. And if I'm working with someone with weight loss, I usually try to keep most of the fruit out except for the berries in the first 30 days, just to try to get that sugar down in the diet and focus more on vegetables.
Wonderful. Well, unfortunately, we are at the end of our time. However, before we go anywhere, first, Chris, I'd love for you to come back and talk more about detoxing. So can I put you on the spot and invite you to come back?
Absolutely. Love it.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that we didn't get a chance to touch on today?
I would love to share that one size does not fit all. We have two camps right now going on, and you'll notice, I'm sure, if you've lived long enough to see that there are so many different diets that come and go, right?
Yes.
So the two different camps right now are veganism and the paleo diet. Have you heard of both of those?
I have heard, and I will tell you, I've experimented with both.
Right, right. So those are very different diets. One is very meat-based and one is very obviously vegetable-based. But I will say one size does not fit all. And one of the most fascinating books that I got to read when I was in school was called Traditional Foods Are Your Best Medicine. And that book was written, and it's the story of a doctor named Weston Price that was really practicing during the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. A dentist. He was a dentist. And him and his wife lived in Ontario, Canada. And what they saw was that when they treated the traditional culture, which would be like the American Indian here, which would be the Canadian Indian there, when they looked at the older generation, they saw no tooth decay. But as the children started to eat more of the processed foods, they started seeing major changes in the mouth, dental structure, and tooth decay. This led them on a journey around the world, literally, for 20 years. And they studied cultures that were ancient cultures where foods were starting to change. And they saw that those that ate the traditional foods had no disease, no cancer, no heart disease. They were, at that time, tuberculosis was very big. They did not get tuberculosis. But as their children started to eat some of the processed foods that started coming in during the 30s and 40s, they started seeing tooth decay. They started seeing the diseases show up that we see now in our modern society. So with that being said, what I love to do when I'm working with clients is say, what is your culture? Where is your history? Where genetically are you from? And some of us know where we are. I'm pretty fortunate. I'm pretty much Norwegian on my dad's side and Irish on my mom's. But let's say someone comes to me and they're a Japanese culture and they're eating American food. What do you think is going to happen to their diet, their foods and their diet and their health? It's going to be very bad. So I like to look at what is it that if we go back even 4 or 5 generations, what was it that was eaten as a traditional food, and really focus on that, not focus on everyone needs to be a vegan or everyone needs to be paleo, because you and me, Caryn, probably can eat very different foods and feel good. Something I could eat makes me feel good, and something you can eat makes me not feel good. So I would just say one size does not fit all. And I think that's where working with someone in my field is really helpful, to really kind of look at what is the best food for you.
I love that. I do. And while we're on that topic, what is the best way for people to connect with you directly?
Probably the website. My website is www.betterhealthdesigns, plural, betterhealthdesigns.com. You can look at my website and grab some great tools off of there. I've got links on there for going and looking at what you can look up for foods and farmer markets and things like that in your locale. I'm real big into eating local. So you can also download that acid alkaline chart off my website there. You can also contact me there for a nutritional consultation. I do them over Skype, or I do them on the phone, so you don't have to be in my state or in my area, but that's the best way to reach me.
Wonderful. Okay, so Chris, we've done the coaching, and this is coffee and coaching. So let's talk coffee. Coffee, tea, cocoa, what is your favorite?
I have to say coffee. I do buy organic coffee. I do have a cup every morning. And I do love my cup of coffee in the morning.
So it's the 80-20 rule.
It's the 80-20 rule. That's right.
Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been talking with Chris McKee, a certified nutrition consultant, diet counselor, and nutrition educator. So thank you, Chris, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Caryn. It's been fun.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to share it with a friend.
You've been listening to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next time for more Coffee and Coaching with Caryn.
Until then, visit us at coffeeandcoachingradio.com.
Caryn Fitzgerald is an author, speaker, business strategist, and leadership coach. Connect with her at coffeeandcoachingradio.com.